For example, I don't carry any cash in my wallet.
What's different? That's not news, is it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, therefore, two reasons.
For a time
Yeah, exactly. Two.
Hi everyone, welcome to our podcast and to our video cast. It's the first time some of you guys have seen us. Ravi, myself and our new champion Arjun are trying out a new media today. We've been recording podcasts for you during the lockdown. A couple of ordinary guys, thanks very much for listening to that, and we thought it was about time we gave the whole thing a refresh. So we're here today to refresh everything. We've got a brand new podcast, thank you so much. For all of you that have suggested this. It's called The Art of Experiences. Before we go into what we're going to talk about today, I just want to introduce these two wonderful chaps that I'm stood next to today. First of all, this gentleman here on my right. Please say hello and tell us who you are.
Hello. Hi, this is Arjun here. And basically I'm the new kid in the block for all those people who have been listening to Nick's and Ravi's podcast. Describing their experience and their view on drones across the globe.
Welcome, mate. It's
Thank
nice
you.
to have you with us,
Nice to have you.
And on the other side, in the blue corner, we have young Ravi. You'll remember his lovely voice and the sound of his children in the background, and the sound of the doorbells going off and all the other good stuff from our last podcast. So, without further ado, do you want to say anything, Ravi?
Well, I just want to say that it's good to be back. I'm the old kid on the block, but in a new season over here, and we look forward to having some good fun. And unfortunately, you will have to bear with our faces as well this time.
Yeah, I know. I don't expect us to go viral on YouTube. Let's give it a try, shall we? So I've got as those of you that remember, we kind of do this by shooting from the hip. We don't actually plan it, but we do have a small script. So if you can see me looking up in that direction, it's because it's on a big screen over there in the distance. I'm just going to read out what I'm supposed to read out, and then we'll get cracking with the podcast. So it says here, in Nick in yellow, hello and welcome to our podcast, The Art of Experiences, where we are talking to you today from our base in Dubai. Those of you that can see on the right, the Palm Jumeirah is just outside there. Those of you that can't see, well, we can. And we are the guys who have created and enjoyed designed and choreographed some of the best experiences in the best locations around the world. This isn't one of them. I'd like to hand over to Ravi, who's going to read what's written in green.
Thank you, Nick. And here goes my part of the script. As usual, today we'll be podcasting episode 1 in our new series, season 2, The Art of Experiences, where we'll be talking anything and everything about customer experiences. We are Nick, Ravi, Arjun, and we are designers, architects, and techies. But above all, we are on a journey to tell the wider world why some experiences just work and some do not. And over to you, Arjun, on the purple bit.
Why is you writing in pink, Arjun?
All right. So, guys, it's great to be here. Thank you. And I'm really looking forward to having this conversation. Thank you.
Good stuff. Right.
All right, chaps, then let's start talking about today's topic. Today's topic is about digital currency versus paper currency. Now, I think it's everybody knows that digital currency is the way of the future. Paper currency is slowly dwindling away. Today the plastic currency has taken over a lot. For example, I don't carry any cash in my wallet.
What's different? That's not news, is it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, therefore, two reasons. Yeah, exactly. Two reasons that first of all, I don't have any cash, and secondly, I'm doing this on an honorary basis.
I think Ravraj is a visionary. He's been carrying no money even pre-corona times.
Yeah, exactly.
I like the way he talks to the third
but
person.
for people who come from a very, very affluent background, some of them are standing next to me, and it seems that the digital currency is taking on. And I'll first go to Nick. Nick, what do you think? Actually, do you still think the paper currency is on?
Well, when I was listening to you just then, Ravi, I was just thinking about the last time I actually had money in my hand. And if I take away the shoved penny game that we were playing the other day, I can't remember the last time I had cash money in my hand. I think there's a couple of reasons for that. One, because it was my birthday recently. I'm going younger, not older now. But for my birthday present, this wonderful man here in the blue t-shirt bought me this Apple Watch. Those guys of you can see it on the YouTube channel. Those of you that can't on the podcast just have to imagine it. And out by magic, it just pays for things. So I can go into a shop and I can just wave my watch in the direction of the person that's serving me, or in the direction of the restaurant person when I'm having my meal, and the money just comes out of my bank account magically. It's so convenient, it's flexible, it helps me, and it also makes sure I spend more money than I used to as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's really, I mean, the whole idea, and on a more serious note, you know, the whole idea of carrying money around, you know, first of all, I don't want to at the moment because of the pandemic, and who knows, you know, how this virus is transmitted and all the kind of stuff that we read about, whether it's on the money, whether it's not on the money. I just don't want to have it in my hand. And second of all, I don't want to carry coins. You know, some places I've been to in the world, I think Japan is one, I think, from memory. A lot of the money over there is coins. So when you have these coins in your pocket, you know, they can be worth a fair amount of money. But then, you know, you've got the inconvenience of carrying this weight around with you all the time. And for me, the convenience really of digital money is at the point of sale. Is really where it's at. You know, Arjun, I mean, what's your experience, and what do you think about this?
I mean, definitely pre-corona times, I did used to carry money with me, but not like a lot, you know, not like a large sum of money with me, but nonetheless, I still used to have money in my wallet. But ever since corona hit, I'm deliberately making an effort not to have any sort of money in my wallet, so that I don't have to pay a certain amount and get a change back, because of the fear that, you know, you never know how many hands has that particular currency passed through, and it's nothing more than a precautionary measure to ensure that I remain safe, and through me someone else remains safe. So definitely yes, digital currency is the way forward, and I believe the pandemic has only acted like a catalyst in ensuring that a large population in the world have started now moving to digital currency more than paper currency.
I remember one thing, Nick, you said is that quite a few economies are still having coins.
Yeah.
And that reminds me and takes me in the past when you used to have any trip abroad, and when you come back with a series and, you know, heavyweight coins in your bag, and you just have to keep it somewhere because you can't really expense it.
Yeah.
So I think going from that to going to a era wherein we don't even carry any currency when you go abroad, you know. Today we have cash or debit cards or prepaid cards where we can use those, and you don't even need to exchange currencies, you know. And most of the stores, even if you want to buy any $5 or $1 thing, they can use cards to pay for that, you know. Now, having said that, you know, I still believe that I think there is a certain weightage given to the paper currency, and especially when we actually have to balance the digital currency and the paper currency against it, you know, because ultimately digital currency is a form of a paper currency. You know, you cannot get rid of paper currency. So where I'm going to is let's say about cryptocurrency. You know, there's so many cryptocurrencies, coins coming up, but then ultimately they are pegged against the real currency, which is actually a paper currency. You know? When we talk about cash vaults and everything, it is actually a paper currency. When we are talking about we have money in our digital cards, but your money is sitting in the bank in a paper currency, you know. So I don't know, but it's a way of balancing things. So if you want to spend your money, easy to use a credit card, but in real form, I think the money still exists.
Yeah, I mean,
I do agree
you're
with
right.
that.
I mean, they talk about gold being the ultimate currency, don't they? You know,
True.
and that you know the so-called stable currencies in the world are pegged against gold and things of that nature. I mean, I kind of tend to come at this from a slightly different perspective, where I think about, you know, as a customer, and I'm a customer of money, you know, what's convenient for me. So I talked a little bit about how easy it is to spend it, but there are other benefits that go with digital currency which I think weren't there in previous years when we were using paper currency. So, for example, when your bill is 8 dirhams and 56 fils, for example. That's what you're charged. 8 dirhams.
Yeah.
It's not rounded up or rounded down
Absolutely.
to the nearest dirham.
Yeah.
Secondly, I think with digital currency comes a whole gamut of different benefits that you can get as a user of money to help you to understand how you're spending your money. So we all have them on our apps. Actually, I don't, because the bank that I bank with has a terrible app. Anyway, that's another story. Where they tell you how much you're spending on food and on your household bills and all the other stuff. And it's actually quite useful, quite helpful.
Mm-hmm.
And then off the back of that, we've seen a whole bunch of innovations in things like saving, where people are able to round their bill up and save that small amount every time they buy something, and so on and so forth. And then of course we get into the whole realm of fintechs and how fintechs are kind of enabling financial transactions to happen more freely, and open APIs in banking and all the rest of that kind of technical stuff, which we won't go into at the moment. We're not here to talk about how banks work. We're here to talk about customer experiences and what good ones versus bad ones. So, I think from my perspective, there's a long way to go with digital currency for us as customers to really reap the benefits from it. I also think, having said all of that, there's something very beautiful about having real money. It's kind of like by real money, obviously digital currency is real money. A piece of paper, or in some countries like in Australia, I think your money's plastic. So that when you go surfing, it doesn't wash away, which I think is so cool.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah. Having real like plastic or paper money in your hand, or coins in your hand, there's something quite nice about it in the way that it's nice to have a paper book, and you can turn the pages, or to have a real pen. And this man, again, he's very generous, brought me a very beautiful gift recently, which was a pen, and to have that device in my hand and to enjoy it, there's something nice about it, quite nostalgic. But I think I'm thinking again about the future. I'm thinking about young people, and there are young people that are growing up in some parts of the world. So, say for example, in places like Sweden, who I think are aiming to be without a fully digital currency sometime around now, sometime within the next 3 or 4 years. There are people that will grow up in those countries that won't know what it's like to feel a paper note in their hand.
True.
So us as oldie, or me anyway as an oldie, as you guys can see, not on the podcast, thank God, but on the YouTube channel, there's a little bit of, what should we say, 1 or 2 grey hairs in my beard, which is a bit of a giveaway as to my age, being in my late 30s. I'm waiting for it.
No, go on, Nick. This is the first episode. We'll have it your way.
No, but
I'm done.
I'm just thinking, based on what Rev said, somebody comes back home after a long journey going to a different country, and they do have coins with them.
Yeah.
And that turned out, those people were the ones that I used to go to get some extra coins that I can add to my coin collection. So that start of a hobby where that this particular person in my family has visited so and so country.
Yeah.
Once it's gonna come back, I'm gonna ask him for coins or currency from that country, and I'm gonna keep it in my collection. So not about another 5 or 10 years, but probably about 15, 20 years. I'm not sure if that hobby is going to exist anymore, or the next generation, they would be able to do such a thing. True. Not sure. Another cultural implication, what I can think of is, I'm from southern part of India, and we have a celebration called Vishu. Now, one of the most attractive element of Vishu is the fact that the elders give you money. And that's always paper currency. Now, once it goes completely digital, probably the next generation of kids are going to grow up, and then they're going to have Vishu. I'm not sure if the parents are going to give them ATM cards rather than paper currency. So these implications may not be happening in about 5 or 10 years, but probably the next generation that's going to come up is going to start looking at money in an entirely different way.
Yeah, very true. Very true.
That's very true. And an interesting thing which you touched on, Nick, is that I think we are talking about customer experiences. So the digital or digitalization of the currency has, I think, really done wonders to the field of customer experiences. I think there's a whole lot of things which have been now designed across how you actually pay in the store. Right from the digital kiosk to the cash tills, or to even not to having anything actually, and just walking out of the store with a prepaid card on your basket. So it has. Do you want to really touch on that? What kind of customer experiences this digital currency has changed?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? Because as you were speaking, Ravi, obviously the first thought that came to my mind was the Apple experience. The kind of, if you like, the holy grail, the
holy grail
when it comes to customer experience. They try like crazy behind the scenes, but at the point of contact, it's just so beautiful and so simple. And you go into that store and there's not a till in sight. There's a bunch of guys with mobile phones, and okay, they sell mobile phones amongst other things. So you don't pay a second glance, but somehow or other this magical mobile phone allows you to pay for your goods and all the rest of it, which I think is fantastic. And then the other thought that came to mind was a home furniture store here in the UAE who are using payments at the point of purchase. So this particular store had a reputation for long queues. They sell things like sofas and heavy stuff, and carrying that stuff to the till, lining up, paying for it. I mean, I've been in there myself. I'm sure you guys have as well. And you see the queue and you just think, no,
you don't want to be there.
Now there's a guy with an iPhone. He comes up to you and he says, "Do you want to buy this carpet?" You say, "Yeah, I want to buy it." You tap your phone on the iPhone, and there's a guy carries the carpet to your car, and you're done.
Fantastic.
So, I mean, the impact that's had from a business perspective on the sale, the point of purchase, and customer experience, customer service, is amazing. And again, I say again, the whole idea of digital money versus paper money is really improving the customer journey in so many of these retail locations. There was something else I wanted to mention. I'd be interested in your guys' view on this. There's in East Africa, there's a product, I guess you'd call it, called M-Pesa. And M-Pesa is what they call mobile money. Now it's old. M-Pesa's been around a long time now, but M-Pesa is a way of transferring money to one another, even on I'm trying to think of a word that's politically correct for the podcast and for the video. Should we put it slightly older mobile phone? Some of the ones that I was designing back in the 1990s. So it's even possible to transfer money on some of those, and it brings so many social benefits. Not just the fact that you can change money, but the social side of that. Your wife doesn't get mugged when she goes to the shops, or your kids don't get attacked for their dinner money. Or you don't, when Ravi's walking along the street with $100,000 in his briefcase, he doesn't get mugged. So I was just wondering what you guys think about that, because is this something that's relevant in where you guys come from, or in your experiences from around the world? Have you seen this kind of thing, and what's the benefit?
Yeah, actually, yes, I have seen that, and I come from India, and back in India, they already had something which is initiated by a telecom company, wherein you can actually send money to your peers and to a group and to a network using your mobile network. And now with all this digitization happening, Google Pay is there, or Paytm is there, which is actually easy to transfer money mobile to mobile, and the reach has become tremendous. The reach has become tremendous, because even today in developing nations you will find markets wherein there are street vendors selling their stuff and making a living out of it. For them it's a very big boon, because they cannot afford the POS terminals to keep on their shops. They barely have any electricity for them, but they have a mobile phone, and today I think probably more than 70-80% of the population has what you call the smartphone, and they are able to exchange money just like that. And I think this thing has done a boon to the mankind. It has just uplifted the entire transaction process. And to go to the point that if somebody is earning money, carrying cash, getting mugged, and everything is pretty common in developing nations. But that doesn't happen anymore because now some different kind of scams happen on the mobile phones. But let's not touch on that. But then at least the physical mugging doesn't happen because there's no money anybody carries. So I think that's a wonderful point.
One of the funny stories that I've actually heard is back in the day, if you were to carry 100 rupees and you get mugged on the street, you lose 100 rupees. Now what they do is they literally corner you and ask you for your ATM pin so that they can take the entire money out.
Interesting.
So
I mean, the other thing I've heard of them doing is, I shouldn't say this. Don't do this at home, guys. Okay, this is not a recommendation
Not to
or
be
an
repeated
endorsement.
at home.
But should I say that some people take you and with the facial recognition, they take you to the ATM so that they can put your face in front of the camera and steal your money. So there are always going to be those kind of ne'er-do-wells who will find a way of robbing you if they can. But I think the other thing that as you were talking, Ravi, that came to mind was that how much digital money has empowered entrepreneurs at all levels. So I have friends who run small websites and small businesses who we're just about to lose their mobile phone. No, we're not. Run small businesses online, and these guys are taking micropayments, small amounts of money, and they're selling. Someone's selling socks, someone's selling T-shirts, someone's selling something else, maybe making money through Twitch and on a gaming site. These guys are transacting with micropayments all the time, and one wonders, how that would have been possible 10 or 15 or even 20 years ago, when first of all only physical money or very simple credit cards were around, and how the evolution of that whole kind of process of transacting has really empowered anyone to be an entrepreneur and anybody to sell their services and their skills. I think it's incredible, And,
it is, yeah.
And it's made the world. You guys, all of you know, and you guys who are watching, you guys down there on the YouTube channel, you'll know that I'm a big fan of democratization that the internet has given us, and how it empowers us all to be entrepreneurial and to find other things to do with our lives other than simply the 9 to 5. It's amazing, and that's how I, for me anyway, personally, I'm a big fan of digital money, and maybe we should have a little think about what's not good about digital money as well. I mean, if you make an ATM at the moment, for example, it's probably not a good time to be making ATMs. As we heard from one of our clients the other day, that they don't want any ATMs in their new bank. So it's probably not a good time to be making them. But I mean, are there any other things that you can think of, Arjun, that are perhaps not good about digital money, and why would it?
I mean, if you talk in terms of digital money, and not like simple digital money, but if you get into cryptocurrencies and all that, there's a study done by Cambridge University where the amount of power consumption that goes in mining bitcoins is staggeringly high, wherein they can run the whole of the country of Netherlands with the amount of power that has been consumed by various miners across the globe.
Wow.
So it's because they need higher spec computers, which can solve really complex mathematical problems, which will then get, with which they can then start mining bitcoins, which means those computers, those systems are consuming a lot much more power than the normal system. So I think the issue is, probably at some point of time, it's going to tip towards, an environmental issue. But I'm sure by the time technology would be that much more improved to find better solutions for that.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point, Arjun. Yeah, I mean, I don't know, Ravi, if you have anything on the negative side that you want to say.
More than negative side, I would like to leave you both with one word, and I would like to understand your opinions on this. Do you think that digital currency equals to trust?
It would depend on the context, isn't it?
That's a very interesting one, Ravi. I mean, look.
It is interesting, actually.
Okay, so look, there are aspects of digital currency that I have a challenge with when it comes to trust. Most of those are at the point of sale. It's not in the transaction itself. It's all what do you call that technology? What's it called? Where they encrypt from end to end. It's all covered by that, but there are certain aspects at the front end. But then there were with paper money as well. For me, I mean, I think trust. Does it mean trust? Well, honestly, I don't know that I really think about it. I think I like these new ways of paying, and perhaps before I did it, I wasn't sure how it worked. But once I'd done it a couple of times, I found it convenient. I don't even know where my wallet is, So I, as long as I've got my watch on, which I have on every day, I can buy stuff, and there's no limit to what I can buy. So that's what I feel. And I don't know. What do you think, Martin?
I mean, be it paper currency, be it digital currency, I would say more than trust. Each of those have got its own plus points and negative sides. Now, each time there is a negative side based on your way of life, based on your convenience, and based on what you want out of the situation, you will start finding solutions to overcome those issues.
Yeah.
If you talk in terms of paper currency, if carrying a large amount of money was difficult back in the day, now it's very easy. There could be millions sitting in your credit card or debit card, and you could just be carrying that in your wallet. And transacting it is again much more easier today. So definitely both the scenarios have got its plus and minus, but at the same time, if somebody were to mug your money or let's say somebody were to steal the money from your account due to any fraudulent transactions, you could lose the entire sum, and then you could be running behind with a whole lot of chasing for the money and the legality that follows. So both the scenarios have got its plus and minus. It is purely dependent on what you want out of the situation, so that you start modulating your ways, your needs, your life towards whatever your choice is.
I just wanted to, if I can, just say, and then we'll hear your view on trust, Ravi. I just wanted to say on the negative, there was something I wanted to mention before we move on to this. I wanted to say that as good as it is to have digital currency and as easy as it is to spend digital money, that in itself can be a problem. It can be a problem when you're buying online. It can be a problem if you get excited. It can be a problem if maybe you've had a bit too much grape, or maybe it can be a problem if a whole bunch of things can happen when it's easy to spend your money. There are sort of social issues as well, I'm sure, around spent buying online and gambling online and all those kinds of things that obviously are challenging and don't happen in this part of the world, thank God. But it can be challenging. I mean, I myself was a victim of it this very night that's just passed, when I got excited and ended up spending a lot of money on my son's Twitch account. The next thing I knew, $200 gone. There is that aspect to it, which I think has to be addressed somehow. I'm not quite sure how it will be done, but it has to be addressed somehow. Now, sorry, Ravi, I interrupted you. I want you to talk
absolutely
about trust.
I'll just touch base on what you just said. I would say that isn't it both ways? Because the digitization of the currency has helped ease out how you actually pay, which means it has eased out how you actually spend your money, and then it has opened up so many different avenues, which helps the economy, right? Now, yes, I do understand that on an individual basis, we do end up spending much more than it is required most of the times, and why we do that is because it's easier to spend. We don't need to carry money. In the olden days, you will only carry a certain amount of money. You have a certain amount of money, and you calculate how much you want to spend. Today you don't calculate how much you spend in the entire day. You may be spending 1,000 or you may be spending 10,000 dirhams. It doesn't really matter to you because it's not there. Now, going back to the trust, I think there are issues with trust with the digital currency. It was there when it started 20 years back, when the digitalization started, net banking started, online banking started. People were skeptical. I even remember my mother, who's from the very older generation. I think 3-4 years before, she was not even using an ATM card because she thought that she might press something wrong and her money will just evaporate from the account. By the way, she got a good amount of money. So not me though. so that's the thing. I think the trust issues were there now. Were there that point of time. The trust issues are still this point of time also they are there. It's just that more number of people are doing the transactions. And that's the reason. If you see, most of the online franchises have started maybe 10 years back cash on delivery.
True.
Because they realize that people are not comfortable paying money online to some unknown person, not even seen through the system, using your your card, which can be tracked and which can be done anything, hacked. So that's the thing about trust. I think it still exists. It will exist. I think people still believe in paper currency. If your money is safe in the bank, it's safe in the bank. If your gold is safe in the bank in a solid form of gold, it is a solid form of gold. It just that's the reason people still believe in property investment, because you actually physically see the property, not in stocks or anything when any company can fold anytime.
Yeah, true.
So that's what it is, guys. I think we had a very fantastic discussion today. Season episode 1, guys. I think it was a great start.
What do you guys think?
Indeed.
Good fun.
Wonderful.
I think it was great. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you to you, Dom, for doing our technical stuff behind the scenes. Thank you to you, Ravi. Thank you, obviously, to you, Arjun. So I'm going to read my outro now. I hope you guys enjoyed the conversation. If anybody wants to buy the Nick and Ravi and Arjun calendar, it will be going on sale in December. It'll be a bit like the Sports Illustrated calendar, but without the sports or the illustration.
We are getting ready for that.
Well, you can look out for our merchandising. Thanks for listening to The Art of Experience with Nick, Ravi and Arjun. Thank you to our producer, Dom, for putting the podcast together.
If you enjoyed our show, please leave us a review below.
Join us again on our next podcast, and is it called a video cast? Recording?
Well, we can call it a video cast, right?
we can call it a video cast.
Or a video cast.
Video cast, which we'll be recording next Sunday. And it will be a Brand Wars, my favourite format. You guys know how much we love this. Now we've got you on video, there may actually be some physical contact involved.
Contact wars.
Things may get thrown at one another, punches may get thrown. So watch out for that next week. The Brand Wars will be between 3 mobile phone manufacturers: Apple, Samsung, and Huawei. We haven't decided who's going to be who yet. But for now, we wish you a very happy week. Thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to like and subscribe this nonsense that we're preparing for you. Our YouTube channel is The Art of Experiences. You can check it out on YouTube. We're also on Apple Podcasts. We're on Spotify. We're on Google Play thingy. We're also on the Amazon, whatever it's called, and a whole load of others I've never heard of before. So have a great week, guys. Thanks, Ravi. Thanks, Arjun. Thank you, Dom. Look forward to seeing you next week.
Thank you,
guys. Thank you.
Have a wonderful
Bye-bye.
week ahead. Thank you.